Thank you very much, Karen, and we see us later in this day. Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Tja, now we are going to talk to another head judge, and I'm very happy to welcome Johan. Nice to meet you. Johan, you have to switch your microphone on, please.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, cool. Again, a very warm welcome, Johan, our head judge in Future Engineers. Yesterday we talked to Alex Kotelov. Today we talked to another head judge in this category. So perhaps, Johan, because our spectators didn't know you, perhaps you introduce yourself a little bit, how you became judge and why you love your job.
Oh, that is a mouthful to say. I've been involved with WRO since 2010. That was our first year that we had the competition. We started it in South Africa. And I'm an engineer by trade. I teach at the university. I teach mechatronics. So it's natural for me to expose what I do at the university to kids on a hands-on basis. And I'm a gadget guy, so I like fiddling with things and I like to share that with kids.
Very cool. And now we jump in a few seconds, minutes, that depends a little bit on the situation. This is live, into a live judgment in your category. But you also talked already to the judges. How is your impression of this online final, which is for all of us very special?
It is quite special. It's new for all of us. It's a new way of doing things. And I think that there's some positive things about being online. The nice thing about this is that you could be anywhere in the world and you can show your potential that you've got. You can exhibit what you can do quite easily. Technicalities, there are some challenges that we experience. One of the things that challenges that we experience, but this has been for 10, 11 years now with WRO, sometimes the language barrier does get in the way of things flowing quite nicely. But it's a nice way of doing things. We can do so much more in the same time that we've done at a normal international event.
Very cool. And yesterday I talked to Alex in Russia about the weather and the conditions, but I suppose this is also special. When we meet live, we have the same surrounding, the same weather, the same time, perhaps not the same jet lag, but could you please tell us how late it is at your place? How is the temperature around? And to understand a little bit that our final is special because the people are far away and so close to each other like we are.
Oh, yes, yeah. In South Africa, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon at the moment. We've just had a thunderstorm outside. It's nice, hot. Day temperature at the moment is around about 32 degrees outside, which is very nice. Thunderstorm just came by, cooled us down a little bit. Lots of water came down, so this is awesome. We've got pleasant weather on this side.
Okay, pleasant weather. We are in Germany, in Dortmund, in the middle of Europe, but in a cold part because it's winter and outside the temperatures are around about 10 degrees and the sky is not really blue. And this is also what I love. So my conditions are completely different to yours. The conditions of the judges are completely different to the ones of the children, and we work together. So this is really marvelous.
That is true. That is true. We can connect wherever we are, anytime. Some of our teams are late at night, other teams are early in the morning, but we all still participate. So that is awesome. That is really great.
Yeah, and perhaps, very cool. I suppose we start now with live judging. So we didn't hear the sound of the judging, but I suppose you see also the judging? Do you see it?
Yes, I see it at the moment, yes.
Okay, and then this is the task for the team. And when it starts, I would like to ask you to comment what we are seeing.
Not a problem. I can do that.
So now the team knows what to do?
Yes, the picture that we see on the screen at the moment is the layout of the play field. The gray block at the top of the screen that you can see over there, that's the block where the robot needs to start. The robot needs to travel in a clockwise direction around the track, and wherever they've got green obstacles, they need to pass the obstacle on the left-hand side, and whenever there is a red obstacle, they need to pass the obstacle on the right-hand side. And for each one of the sectors that they pass successfully, they will score 1 point. So
Phew.
what we see here is the live field at the moment, and it looks to me like the team is setting up and they're getting ready to do the first run on the competition.
No, I suppose the field you saw is the field we have live here in our studio to make to explain to our spectators how it works. And future engineers means, and I suppose we can't tell it often enough. The robots need to know their way without lines on the ground, so they need to be able to find the hints, and they need to know where a barrier is, whether it's red or green, so really special. And you don't see the picture anymore, I suppose, so this is also live in the judgment. Perhaps the team has some problems with their robot. Perhaps you tell us about your talks to the referees, how to the judges. Referee, I suppose, is more or less in football. And I don't know whether you know, we have a famous football team here who is playing. But we talk about the judges. What is the reaction? How do you communicate with them, and are they satisfied with the situation? Do they need a lot of help, or is everything in a flow?
Well, initially, the first 2 or 3 challenges that we had, or not challenges, teams that we evaluated is where we normally find our feet. The judges get comfortable with what they're doing. They learn the ropes of what they should be doing, questions they need to be asking, how they need to deal with the teams, if something gets stuck on the board, how to deal with that. And the judges have been really great. They've been doing a really fine job and a good job. They're strict to the point. They help the teams to feel comfortable. They sometimes give them advice, but not advice about the robot, but it's a life skill advice, is to say, guys, this is how you need to approach the team. The challenge, you're a little bit nervous at the moment, but don't worry about it. You're good. You can do this thing. Relax. So the judges have been really good in that regard with the teams.
And I suppose this is also necessary to say again and again and again. For those who compete, stay calm, breathe. We want you to succeed, and we want you to be successful. And on the other hand, from the 217 teams which are part now in the World Robot Olympiad online final 2021, there can also be a few on the first places, but we talked about yesterday also with Alex. I suppose everybody who is in the final already won.
That is true. Everybody that's participating in the final is already a winner in some way or another. But something that you just said is, although you might be brilliant in technical skills, you still need to master the skill of being able to participate in the competition, because there's other things like the pressure that you need to handle, other teams that you need to handle, being able to do things quick.
Yeah, and we are seeing a nice screen. Sometimes we saw already part of a judgment, but this is how it works, even online. The other team said that technique works very well. I suppose this is also an indication of our technical time we have now, that it is possible to do such an online event with live judgments. And I suppose this is also a challenge for the referees, because sometimes when they're in a Zoom room, the Zoom meeting may break down, and this is completely different to a live judgment.
It definitely is. It is nice to be at the international event, be there next to the table, and you can see it and you can experience what the kids are feeling, what the students are feeling. You can experience that. Whereas online, you don't see that, you don't feel that. which is a different environment. But technology has made us, has given us the opportunity to do a lot of things and to experience some part of that actual event as well.
I'm not quite sure whether we see the problems of the team. Um, do they try to make their camera working?
This specific team has got a problem with starting the robot. So we gave them the opportunity to say, well, this is the first time that we do the future engineers. We're going to be lenient towards some teams that have got problems. So they're trying to start the robot from a computer.
Cool. And
the way that they...
we see what happened on their computer.
Yes.
Cool, cool.
That is,
live.
and now we're switching. Yes, this is it.
Okay, wet hands. Oh, nervous. Not so easy with problems like this. And even with the camera position.
Yeah, the camera position, they need to maybe tilt the screen a little bit further down.
Okay, again the task.
This is the task, and I can see that the judges are now explaining what they need to do. So the judges are checking whether the field setup is correctly. And it looks like they've already done the first round.
Okay.
And the judges are scoring. So from what I can see on the screen is it took them 1 minute 16 seconds to do the first round. They've gone through 2 of the sections, and it looks like the robot got stuck over there. That's why you see 1 mark at the repair side.
Okay.
Number of sections, that is 2 sections that they went through. They didn't complete any laps, which means that it took them 1 minute 17, and they didn't touch any of the obstacles on the field. And they scored a total of 3 points, it looks to me.
Okay. But they have a second run.
They do have a second run. And now the first run you go either clockwise or anti-clockwise. And the second run you go in the opposite direction. So now you can see that this is clockwise direction. And the placement of the traffic lights have changed.
Yeah. And even the starting point.
Even the starting point, yes, have changed. And you can see that the starting point and the traffic lights are randomly selected for each team before each round. And the task of the team now is to duplicate what they see on the screen on the field so that it's 100% ready to get going.
Yeah.
And again, the robot must be totally autonomous. The judges will count down from 3, 2, 1, go. On the word go, the teams need to push a button, and the robot needs to start by itself and then negotiate the field autonomously, trying to avoid the obstacles and to pass them on the right side. We said previously, the green ones you need to pass on the left-hand side, and the red ones you need to pass on the right-hand side. And the moment you drive into any of the obstacles or into a traffic light, that is then a failure of the round. At the round is stopped, and whatever they achieved up to that point, they get scored for that.
Okay, let us see whether we can follow another round. They are programming again.
Yes. It looks like they're starting the program, but they need to switch to another screen so that we can see what's happening on the field.
Yeah, but perhaps they don't send us the pictures from the field. Yeah, I suppose it's like this. And yesterday, when I talked to Alexander, it was very funny because the computer ran before the judges enter the Zoom room. And when the competition starts, they try to push a button. They pushed it, but the robot doesn't move. So yeah, this is a live event, and I suppose this is also a good challenge for the teams to learn for the future. Okay, let us see what's happening again there. It's live.
Yeah, it seems that the robot started in the starting position, and at the point we can see that it's actually driven into one of the barriers. And now the team have got the option of whether they would like to fix the situation. So the moment they touch the robot and they replace it, they need to restart the program again. Actually, not restart it. In this case, this team has to restart the program for the robot to continue from that point. Okay, so now we're back.
And you can see they are really very nervous, and failed, I suppose, nearly.
I wouldn't say, yes, they failed on the field itself, but they've been successful to get up to this point, to be able to put the robot together. I know a week ago, everything was working fine. And all of a sudden, one of their sensors actually gave problems and they couldn't find a replacement sensor in time. So they, in the last 7 days, they've had to reprogram, rebuild, do a couple of things to be able to participate today.
No, perhaps
So
they failed in this round. Nobody failed because they are already in the final of the World Robot Olympiad, and it might happen. And you saw they had a sweat in their hands and in their faces,
yes,
and they are nervous. This is a competition, but without a competition, I suppose it's less even funny, because to compete with others is also a motor to get better. And this is why we do the national finals and also the international final each year.
oh yes, yes.
Nice body to look
It's
at. Okay. Okay.
is that
Yeah. I suppose we should jump into another discussion with another head judge. But I'm looking to the technique. Do you think we can dive in the live judging again, or should we continue with our program? Ah, cool.
I think what we see is Alexander
Yeah.
talking to the team at the moment.
Yeah. Ah. Yeah, now we see Alexander in a different role. Yesterday he was my interview partner. Today he is the live judge, and with his colleagues. And we are seeing a team of South Africa. Oh, a little bit nervous.
And you can see Alexander supporting the team by wearing the same South African T-shirt.
Yeah. But this is also, I suppose, to support an important role of the judges to motivate the teams even when the round is not so good, although they know they can do it better. You're a
Yes, definitely.
motivator of the youth.
That is what we're doing. It's although the teams are failing, they experience problems. Our job is to build them up and to say, well, guys, this year wasn't so successful, but you are good. Let's try again next year. Come back and show us how you've improved. And that's the whole idea about this competition. Is yes, you can have successes, you might have some challenges, but come back and show us how you've improved on those and how you've grown and better your skills.
Yeah, I love also this idea of WRO, and I'm looking at Christoph. I suppose we could continue with Danny. Oh, okay, very cool. So we have a backup video. I suppose you can see it too. We look at it and then we come back and talk about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, sir. Then we are ready.
Listen to me. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, one left. Two left. Would you
So-
want to? Would
Yes.
you like to repair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a challenge from yesterday, completely different to the one of today, but also hard work to find the right way for the robot without any help.
That is true. Yesterday was the qualifying rounds that we had, and you can see that there's actually no obstacles on the field around the center part of
I
the
will
field.
count 3, 2,
And
1 for
again,
3, 2, 1,
The robot
go.
had to travel around the field and without touching the borders. And yesterday was purely about how quickly you can go around the track without driving into any obstacles.
Okay, and question to the technique, do you have another,
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're ready.
okay, another video where we see how the team manage it?
Okay. Listen to me. 3, 2, 1, go.
So for the ones who don't know what the challenge is, it seems to be easy,
One
but the robot finds it's the way by itself.
That is true. It finds its way by itself by using existing technology. And some of the teams opted to put a camera onto the robot that it could actually do some image processing to see and analyze what is in front of them. But we still had teams that decided, you know what, this challenge is too easy. We're not even going to use a camera. We're just going to put in some color sensors, and we put in some ultrasonic sensors so we can detect distances and we can see some colors. And they still went around the track. Even today, we had teams, even with the green and the red obstacles in the field, they were able to go around them, which was amazing.
So very cool. And when I talked to Christoph in regular category, we talked about builders and coders, but also about strategy. And it's the same in future engineers. You need to have a strategy also in building and coding the robot.
That is so true. That is, well, in any robotics environment, is you can be really good at your technical side. You can do your mechanical side, you can do your electrical side, and you can be a brilliant programmer. But if you don't put that together in the right strategy on how to implement the task, you could still end up with not being able. The robot can't even move if it's got the wrong strategy. So yes, strategy is an important part of taking part in this kind of competitions. Even if you're building a robot that needs to move components from a warehouse to the assembly line, and it needs to travel autonomously during that path, it needs to avoid the obstacles. So your strategy needs to be the same. You need to be able to apply it. You need to strategize on how the robot needs to negotiate all these obstacles, even people in that environment, so that number one, the robot is not damaged, and number two is so that nobody gets hurt in that environment. So that is exactly what is nice about the competition. At a young age, these kids are starting to explore and experience what it is like to do program and build robots for the real environment.
And to my mind, good news if the strategy this year didn't lead to the wished target, change the strategy and come back next year. I suppose this is also a good advice to all the teams who perhaps are not so happy with their results.
That is true. And if I can give some advice as well, is do not build your robot, do not program your robot before you figure out what is the strategy. Come up with 3 or 4 different strategies on how to do this, evaluate them, and then you start building and programming your robot. Otherwise, you work by trial and error, which takes sometimes 3 to 5 times more the amount of time to get to a solution that is working.
And motivation may get lost if you fail in building and coding without a strategy. So head judge with huge experience for all our new teams. And if you listen just now, we are in the middle of the 3rd day of the World Robot Olympiad, first time online. And we were very happy to have new teams. So if you are interested in competing in robotics, please contact World Robot Olympiad, and perhaps next year or 2023, you are part already of the WRO family in your country, and perhaps also someday in the national event. So for now, Johan, thank you very much for being with us from South Africa. I'm a little bit jealous 33 degrees and sunshine. Oh, it would be nice to have, but I am sure it takes some months. But after round about 6 months, it will be as hot as it is in your country. So to all the teams who now frozen, think of the ones in other parts like South Africa. There it is very hot, maybe even too hot. So this is the challenge for all of us. We are in our home cities, hometowns, home countries with the same conditions. And the problem is only the time. You are close to us. Some of our competitors are already sleeping because 8 hours in the future, or they are 6 hours back, so they start their breakfast with good strength. Thank you very much again, Johan, and good luck for the judgments until the end of this wonderful WRO final 2021. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much, and I'm going to jump in the swimming pool now.
Ah, okay, enjoy it, and be careful
you.
of the sharks, huh? Don't get into
Oh, yeah.
contact with your sharks. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.